Hey everybody, welcome back to a brand new episode of Mikeadelic. I'm Mike Brancatelli, you're you. Today's guest is Ramin Nazer. Ramin was on the show not too long ago, maybe a year ago or so, and I believe that episode is called It's Good Until It's Not. We kind of covered the same themes here, being distracted, getting into all kinds of different things, getting really into it, and then getting into something else, and psychedelics, and a whole bunch of stuff. This was just a good hang. If you're interested in just like a good, fun hang, chat, a couple buds just hanging out and riffing and rapping, that's what we got. So Ramin Nazer is an artist. His page on Instagram is Ramin Nazer, RAMINNAZER. He hosts the Rainbow Brainskull podcast, and he also co-hosts Mind Under Matter Pod with Shane Moss. He has a website. It's raminnazer.com. You can go there, check it out. You can go to his Instagram page. I highly recommend it. All the links will be in the show description, show notes. Big shout out to everybody that leaves 5-star ratings and reviews on Apple Podcasts. That's what helps the show grow. That's what helps it get more visibility, get more exposure to conversations like this, and get more people interested in what we're talking about over here. If you want to go a step further, consider becoming a Patreon member, a patron, if you will. Join the Mikeadelic Inner Sanctum. Get access to early release episodes like this one. Get access to bonus episodes, the Dosadelic comedy show, and also the Inner Sanctum Discord chat group where people all over the world are connecting together to talk about the things that we talk about on the show. Psychedelics, consciousness, reality, politics, culture, society, all sorts of stuff. And of course, funny memes, as always. Big shout out to all the sponsors. Going to mention them real quick here. And then all the links are in the show description, show notes. So just want to give a big thanks to our newest sponsor, Being True to You. Being True to You is a coaching company that helps people prepare and integrate psychedelic experiences, navigate addiction and recovery, and their one-of-a-kind coaching, training, and certification program is going to be starting on September 8th. This is for people who want to build a career helping others transform their lives in a positive way. So check out Being True to You. Being True to You is led by Deanne Adamson, who has a master's degree in counseling, and also co-hosted by Dr. Dan Engel, a neuroscientist and world-renowned psychedelic expert. The course is designed for people who want to build a career in the psychedelic renaissance as an integration coach for personal therapists, counselors, facilitators, social workers who want to deepen their understanding of addiction, self-actualization, and psychedelic work. So if you want to learn more about Being True to You, go to beingtruetoyou.com. Say you heard it from Mikeadelic. The link is in the show notes, show description. Also, SHEATH underwear, the best underwear that you could get for men and women. They also have t-shirts. Their t-shirts are amazing. I love their shirts. I believe they're made out of bamboo. They also have underwear made out of bamboo and modal. It's just like really, really, really comfortable underwear. And they have that dual pouch compartment technology that separates your man parts. So when you're, going for a lot of heavy exercise outside, it's hot, you avoid the chafing and the sweating and, the things got to take care of your parts down there. So SHEATH doing big things in the world of supporting genital health for men. They're also really philanthropic. SHEATH gives back a lot. They help support, veterans and homeless and men's health, mental health, and just a lot of really great things that SHEATH is doing. They're going to be one of the sponsors at our retreat coming up, Permission, the men's retreat that I've talked about on the show. More to come with that for sure. We'll keep you in the loop on how that goes. Really excited for it. But I love SHEATH. It's literally the only underwear that I wear. They're amazing. I wear them to the gym. I wear them out. I wear them all the time. And their shirts are great too. So they make stuff for men and women. And if you're a psychedelic person, you're going to concerts, festivals, things like that. You know how tough it could be sometimes. They got that dual pouch. So, you got a little pouch down there. I'm just saying. You could put two and two together. SHEATH's the best. And they got a money-back guarantee. So if you don't like it, you could just get a refund. But you're going to love it. So the promo code for Sheath is mikeadelic. You get 20% off. Check out Fungi Academy. Fungi Academy is amazing. They're really helping people who want to learn about mushroom cultivation and psychedelic journey work. What is mycology and sacred mycology? These guys are truly revolutionary in what they're doing. They've compiled all the information that you could possibly want to know about fungi in one place, and that is Fungi Academy. It's an academy. There really isn't another place where you can go to learn, a full comprehensive overview and an in-depth, with in-depth rigor and attention to detail in fun and engaging interactive videos, workbooks. It's just, if you don't know anything about mushrooms or mushroom cultivation and you want to get into it, this is the place to go. You get a big discount, 25% off with Mikeadelic, and I highly recommend it. And Ohana Kava Bar is the last sponsor that I'll talk about here. Ohana Kava Bar just makes awesome kava. Feel relaxed and happy and have some kava. It's great. I mean, they're literally the best. I love all the products that they sent me. And check them out if you're interested in adding to your medicine mixture. Some days I have a little microdose, some days I have a little kava, some days I have a little CBD, 1-to-1 THC. Get your medicine mixtures in order to make sure that you're kind of feeling the way that you want to feel and plug and play with what works. But Ohana Kava Bar has become a necessary component to my routine. So I love their kava tincture, their pills, their powder, their mixtures. It's amazing. So check that out and use the code TIMEWHEEL for 10% off. All right, that's pretty much it. Without further ado, we'll get into this podcast with Ramin Nazer. There's also a video version up on YouTube if you want to watch our goofy smiling faces. So check that out. Hope you enjoy, and till next time, here it is with Ramin Nazer.
Psychedelics are illegal not because a loving government is concerned that you may jump out of a third-story window. Psychedelics are illegal because they dissolve opinion structures and culturally laid down models of behavior and information processing. They open to us the possibility that everything we know is wrong.
We don't need new laws that control our consciousness and rigidly place it in a prison.
Cognitive liberty. The fact that as adults, if we're not hurting anybody else, we should have the right to explore the contours of our own consciousness without any mediation or legislation on the part of somebody else.
Reject authority. Authority is a lie.
Or is it perception?
Information is power, but we have to seize the opportunity. The opportunity.
Gears or something? You're changing from Mikeadelic to something else?
Well, that's awesome that you guys had dinner. I wish I could have been there. Yeah, I'm always changing something. I'm always like, this sucks. I need to be different.
Me too. Like 10 times before I wake up.
Yeah.
But, I mean, you went through before it was Mikeadelic, we talked about it last time. It was the libertarian sort of vibe, even though you weren't full on it, but that was more the brand, and then it became Mikeadelic, and now you don't even know where you're changing to. It's just kind of a general feeling.
Yeah, I mean, I used to do a podcast with Dave Smith, and it was called Part of the Problem. And so I was doing stand-up comedy, and I was like, wow, libertarianism, stand-up, and psychedelics. And that was kind of the thing. And then I started, now I just feel, I just released a solo podcast, and I hate it.
Welcome.
Yeah, I feel like I captured a thing in the past and I had an audience. Okay, So this is actually a good place to start because it's like this idea.
Oh, we're in the recording now? Okay, cool. I got to put my filter on.
We're always in the recording.
Now I am a pure good boy that says nothing wrong.
Yeah, okay. Well, you're on the wrong show. Right? There's this idea of getting into something, and then people tell you that you're good at that thing, and then you're like, oh, great, I'm going to keep doing that thing. And then there's a point where I'm trying to I'm trying to make that thing perfect, but the thing that made that thing good was that it wasn't perfect.
Oh, I see. Yeah. Like when, I mean, this might not be a good example, but didn't the Foo Fighters try to capture the original garage sound at some point, and then they went and rented out a crappy garage, but then they filled it up with hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of recording equipment, and it ended up sounding overproduced in the end because it's tough to be who you were again because you've moved on from it. So it's about finding a new place to, I don't know, be authentic again from the ground up. I don't know.
Yeah, that's it. And then not when you don't know that, I feel like it's home base to go back to what you remembered was that good feeling.
Yeah.
Or that got you that success or whatever it was. And it's like, oh, I'll just go back and let me just dig through this pile of dirty laundry. Those masks and clothes are still there. I'll just put that on. That works. It fits.
Yeah. And you're a stand-up, right? You would, I mean, before the pandemic and stuff. A little bit?
So I stopped doing stand-up in 2017. And then...
But you get it, though. You get the experience of doing a joke where the one time you did it, it worked because you hit something in that moment, and then you try to capture it, and then the next 10 times the joke doesn't work, but you're like, I know I can get it because it worked that one time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's like capturing that lightning in a bottle kind of thing.
Yeah,
but it's also a feeling too. So I think that it's this weird thing, and you do this a lot. You put this out in your art a lot. On Instagram, where it's like communicating this kind of struggle between striving for the thing and then knowing that you have the thing or that you are the thing, right? I mean, what do you think about that?
Oh, for sure. And I don't even live it. I just articulate it sometimes, but I'm always striving for the thing. I'm always trying to find it's a weird dichotomy of leadership with, Jocko Willink and Echo Charles. Good evening, Echo. Good evening,
listen to him?
Of course I listen to Jocko. I love Jocko. Hey, Jocko, why are you in the dark? So the enemy doesn't see me. Hey, Jocko, why are you looking over your shoulder? To assess the enemy's perimeter. I can't even do a good Jocko voice, but I love strong characters like that. But the point of that thing is, you try to find your voice and the thing you're best at and can also get audience from or whatever. And then you get trapped by your voice too. If it works, then you're trapped. If it doesn't work, I'm fucking up. So it's just a human condition. It's the Sisyphean rock that we always every day have to, am I doing good enough? No. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, stand-ups fall victim to that a lot too, right? Like, people laugh when Jerry Seinfeld just walks out on stage. Mm-hmm. He doesn't have to do anything because he's Seinfeld, and they know what to expect from him. They're like, oh, I can't wait for that. Or there's comedians that have like a thing, or at least there used to be, like, I don't know, Sam Kinison. Like, it was like you knew that you were going there. You're getting like the screaming guy.
Yeah. Joe Rogan loves to talk about Sam Kinison. Maybe not anymore, but I'm thinking of early.
He
Joe
does.
Rogan.
He brings him up still. Yeah, he's like, oh, that dude was wild, man.
Yeah. The greatest bit of all time. Of all time. It's the greatest bit of all time. He's literally like screaming, going, ow, ow, ow. And I would die, man. Me and my buddies would just die. And so people think that's not the greatest bit of all time, man. Fucking whatever.
Yeah.
But that's his taste, He just, that hits him just right, which I think I enjoyed that first Sam Kinison special at the Comedy Store or whatever. I forget what it was, but after a while it just kind of fades away and it becomes part of an era.
Is that the one with Rodney Dangerfield?
Maybe the one he's wearing a hat.
I think it's at Dangerfield's, and he's like, oh, this kid's a great kid over here. He's a crazy kid, but we're gonna introduce him. Hey, someone throw out the trash. Oh, that's my wife's dinner.
I love Rodney, and Rodney wasn't even. I didn't know about Rodney until Simpsons. Actually, that episode of Simpsons with
He's his brother, right?
Mr.
Oh,
Burns'
Mr.
son.
Burns' Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and then I was like, "This is a great character," and then you learn it's just Rodney Dangerfield. They're like, "Oh, there's a whole actual Larry Burns that exists in real life."
Yeah.
Yeah.
The real version, yeah.
Yeah, I wonder what else we're missing, because there's greats of the past that aren't remembered because whatever thing occupies that instead, and then you find out about them when you're 40 or 50. So I wonder who I don't know about right now that I would love, but I just haven't heard about.
Yeah, I mean, I love that. I love discovering new stuff that's been around because I feel this like psychedelic feeling that like I somehow knew about it, but I waited until the right moment, like my higher self or something. Like there was a mushroom trip that I did, and right after the trip, my friend put on Radiohead Moon Shaped Pool on record on an out, and I had never heard it before, and I love Radiohead, but for whatever reason, I just refused to listen to Moon Shaped Pool.
Weird.
And I think my theory is that I saved it so that I could experience it for the first time on vinyl coming down from 8 grams of mushrooms.
I believe it. I believe that was your higher self, like purposely putting that aside and vacuum sealing it and then waiting for that right moment to do it. Because otherwise, maybe you wouldn't have had as good of a time. It wouldn't have unlocked the thing that leads to the next thing, I don't know. It's fun to get into the determinism mindset as long as it's good. If it's like my higher self has determined all of this to make the future great, then a determinism is good. But if it's like, no, the capitalist monster is crushing you and you were born in the class you are and you're determined to die, then it's like, oh, not as fun.
Yeah, that doesn't feel so good.
Yeah.
And it's that could be categorized, I guess, as like a woo thought, but I'm all about it, man. I'm all about embracing I even cringe when I get a lot of LinkedIn messages from people that are like in the kind of psychedelic corporate world.
Weird. I've never gotten one LinkedIn message that was not spam. They're all spam, but they're dressed very nicely. Lots of pantsuits and suits and stuff.
From like pictures of human beings.
Pictures of
like,
humans.
Hello,
yes.
sir. Hello, podcaster. We have really appreciated your work.
Actually,
insert name of work, like, copy and paste stuff.
Actually, I did get one real message, and it was just like, brother, when we recording, and it's someone I never even met in my whole life, but they just spelled it BRODDA, broda, when we recording. I'm like, what?
Nice.
Who's this guy?
On LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Amazing. Yeah, I get messages on LinkedIn from people that want to be on the show, and they're like from a completely different field. So, it's spam stuff. But one of them I get is like, people are like, psychedelics without the woo-woo has been in like these companies that are trying to do things. And I'm like, no. I like the woo.
Yeah, me too.
I love the woo.
I'm about the woo. The woo's what got me in the game.
Yeah.
Not
trying to explain it all away with science.
Is that it? That's a pretty good Shane. Is that a Shane?
There was a purple DMT woman that came to me, and it was like,
it's because it goes a little British at the end, but it goes a little British at the end. That first one was good. I heard you and Shane had an online little a skirmish or something. I imagine it was about anti-vax stuff, but
I feel so terrible about it. I want to reach back out to him because I see so many similarities between him and I, but there's this one huge difference. And I think that we both become demons when we go on Twitter.
and I love both of you.
And I've quit Twitter.
Good.
And I feel so much better. There's something really interesting about the mediums that we engage with and how, and like the format, the structure of it. Something happens when I'm on there, and I turn into like a different part of me comes out that is a very like deep shadow part that I don't want to reveal. So we got into it, and it's sad because I I felt bad about it, and I like Shane a lot.
Yeah.
And I'm going to reach out to him soon because I feel bad about it.
Do you even remember what the point of contention was? Was it about vaccine or something tangential to it?
I remember exactly what it was. He wrote something about like the thing that anti-vax people don't understand is, you know, like, I don't know, something. And the tone was kind of like assertive and certain and
sounds like my boy.
Forceful. And I'm kind of that way too. So I retweeted it and I said, the thing that you don't understand is that there's a lot of diverse opinions out there that don't align with anti-vax. To lump them into one category is to be dismissive without nuance. And then he said something back. And then I said, I just believe in cognitive liberty and sovereignty and neurodiversity and things like this. And he's like, that has nothing to do with it. And then he called me, he's like, the psychedelic movement doesn't need another Q shaman. And that's when I got really mad. And I said, like, this something that bad about him. It was just ugly, man.
It escalated when it didn't need to, because the first thing you wrote, like, who could disagree with that? It's true. And I kind of feel for it's man, how do I put this? It's just, there's a certain percentage of people that are not going to listen to everyone telling them to do something. So we have to be very careful with how we're approaching messaging. And Sam Harris did a whole episode about why should people trust anything? Like, and then he listed events that took place in the last, 18 months. And he was like, oh, right, I forgot about that. Like the mixed messaging, the back and forth, the whiplash that you cognitively experience between it. If I cared more, I could probably be susceptible to becoming very vaxy or very anti-vaxy or something, but I'm just...
Yeah, I'm not even anti-vaxy, baby.
Yeah.
I'm not, I'm like, make your own choice, I just, I think that was that appeal to libertarianism. Do you know Dave Smith?
Dave Smith, I think he do that guitar video, like the John Mayer guitar
no,
meme?
There's another like guitar guy, Dave Smith, but he's part of the Legion of Skanks podcast.
Maybe. I know Luis Gomez is Legion of Skanks, and I know Big J. I've met Big J.
Yeah, Big J, yeah.
And I think Dan Soder is like not in Legion of Skanks, but he's like part
he's like
of
an
that
honorary member.
Satellite.
Yeah.
So it's kind of that group, but I don't think I know Dave Smith.
Well, yeah. So I used to do the podcast with him, and it was like we were both kind of just getting really excited about libertarian philosophy. The way that he explains things is in a very sort of certain and assertive tone,
Mm-hmm.
and I've sort of fit that mold as well, and I still carry that on. So that's the piece that I'm still working on letting go or integrating, because I feel like I've expanded into a whole different world, although I still hold that little nugget there.
Yeah. And that's tough. You're probably holding a lot back. I know we're all holding a lot back because I think most people don't want to upset people, and we want to be understood and stuff. So it's like you're just holding it all back. But if you do have that like targeted, abrasive thing in your personality, it must be painful to just always be like, oh, I better not say anything because then people are going to misinterpret me as being this. So I'll just shut up forever.
Well, I just say the thing and then I get in trouble. That's what it is. I say the thing, I get in trouble, and I'm like, and then I get grossed out by myself. I'm like, oh God, like I was high the other night, just like listening to the podcast. Cause what I did was I just recorded it and I just put it out and I didn't do anything. And I was listening to myself and I'm like, ugh, I was just disgusted. I was like, I sound like a whiny little, this is horrible. This is terrible, Yeah, because I think I think what we all want to do is figure out the best way to communicate how we truly feel and what we truly think, and be understood and received, and not and know that the intention isn't to like upset or hurt anybody, but maybe some people will get upset. But then we could talk about it. Like if we can talk about it in a calm way.
But that only works one-on-one.
Curiosity.
It only works one-on-one. If you're trying to have a conversation with 100,000 people or 10,000 people, it's unfeasible.
Yeah,
you could spend all day doing it, but I think it's dumb. And I kind of like people that get in trouble secretly and publicly. I love the people that have taken heat a little bit. Not, not Harvey Weinstein or something
Like who
that.
who recently?
Like recently, let me think about it. Who took heat recently that I like a lot? So for example, I love Chris DiStefano. I love Giannis Pappas, History
yeah, I love those
Hyenas,
guys. Yeah.
Mark Normand, Joe List,
Hey!
Tuesdays with Stories. Like
All right.
I don't think
Yeah.
they get lots of heat, but they could easily be isolated as clips and canceled and stuff. But let me think about that more.
I'm gay.
That's a great Normand. Yeah.
All right.
I appreciate.
Well, Joe, what'd you do this weekend? Hey, yeah, Mark, I
Well, I took Sarah went to the cellar and wasn't any spots left. So, I ended up sticking a whole pint of Sam Adams up my ass, and my dad's gay and my mom's fat and I hate myself.
Yeah. Well, that's always been their thing. So I feel like they're sort of uncancelable, because they've just always had that sort of ironic, like they call their fans the twos gays.
Yeah, I'm a gay
so
for sure.
It's just baked in. I remember one of the things early on when I was doing stand-up in New York, Joe List came up to me and he was like, "Hey, that was pretty good, man. I've seen you around, but I just always assumed that you stunk."
Yeah, like, see, don't you love that honesty? Some people would be like, I wanted to like Mark, but he said that he thought I stunk and he hadn't even seen me before. So I was just really turned off by the fact that he thought that I might have stunk. And, fuck that guy. He's stupid. Come Town's huge one. Nick Mullen. I know Nick personally. So, like, I have that connection to it. I already know he's funny and stuff. But, you can take any portion of a Come Town episode and be like, oh man, you shouldn't play that in the car with anyone. So and I think about this line that Chuck Palahniuk had in one of his how to write books about like not making every character likable, and he said, I don't even like likable people, and that resonated with me. Like there's such a pressure to be pure, and from both sides of the everything, on one side you've got the pious religious, like don't attacking Lil Nas X for putting out his music video and the homophobia he gets, and then on the other side of things, you cannot say a single thing without oppressing someone. You're ableist, you're not woke enough. The ultra woke or the ultra religious kind of targeting people and saying you're not good enough, do better, be more pure, be like me, assimilate. And but I personally don't really care for either end of those spectrums. I kind of like real people.
Yeah, and I
don't
think
make that
a
clip. Don't make anything a clip. Actually, make the whole thing a clip.
The whole thing is going to be a clip. Yeah. This is the first time I think I'm using this to record video, so I don't even know what it's going to look like.
Zencaster's come a long way. It's kind of fun, huh?
Oh, yeah. I had an issue yesterday with them. I was recording with James McCrae he has a page called Words Are Vibrations on Instagram.
Oh, I like that.
You familiar with
No,
that guy?
I don't know, but I like
He's
the
great.
sentence.
Check him out. Yeah, what'd you say?
I like words are vibrations.
Words are vibrations.
Well,
they take on.
And what is a vibration? Well, you can visualize it as an oscillation between 2 points. And what is a point? Well, I don't have one. And none of us have any points. We're just here over the weekend because,
I love like the over the weekend, that observation that you made is so amazing because I've been recently getting back into some Terrence McKenna talks. It's like it's been a while, so I dive back in.
I'm jealous.
And he's like, it's like one of them is like 5 hours long, and it starts off with,
well, as we sort of wrap up here, we'll just answer a few questions, and then maybe I'll talk more about this over the weekend. But since you asked, I'll just go into a rap for 4 hours of meandering, smashed on cannabis.
Me, you, and Michelangelo should get. We should put together a night of too many Terrences.
Yes,
There's a
that would be fun.
A fundraiser for psychedelic awareness. Donating all the proceeds to MAPS, even though we don't have any proceeds. No one's given us a cent. And there are no maps. There's only the territory of direct felt experience.
And what is the felt presence of immediate experience? Well, it's being here now. It's feeling the rain on your skin. Or if you don't even have skin, you feel the pain of having no skin because your nerves are exposed to the air and it's rather painful, which is why I regret removing all my skin during our trip to Peru with my brother Dennis. And I told him, Terrence, don't take off your skin. And he just ran off.
Well, he took it. It's hard to. Oh, that sounded like Jordan Peterson. It's hard to do it, Dennis. I feel like. Yeah. Well, the thing about Terrence is.
Oh, my favorite. I was listening to a Peterson clip, and he brought up McKenna, and that like blew my mind. I love it when two people I wonder if they had ever heard of each other have. So I'm like, I wonder how many Terrence clips he's listened to.
That's awesome. JP's just sitting at home getting baked, listening to Terrence go on about like the time wave theory. It's bloody wrong. It's not the time wave. It's hard. You got to start here and in your room where it's dark and bloody scary, wrestling around with all these ideas and Solzhenitsyn and
Dostoevsky and my daughter Michaela and my wife Tammy in our hospital. And
yeah, he's a good example of a guy. He's like, I like what he says, but he's so intense, you know?
Which one? Peterson?
He used to be. Peterson.
Oh, yeah. But
so intense. Like he's giving those lectures and walking around and you gotta face it, man. You know, like
to go back to what we started this recording talking about, I really do like both schools of whatever you want to call it, schools of motivation. Like, so you've got to suffer, and the Jocko Willink of good. Like, you just lost your leg, good. More time to work on the other leg. It's all suffer oriented. And sometimes I really need to hear that. And then other times I don't want to hear about suffering. I want to hear about manifestation and ease and the magic of imaginal techniques and just being in vibrational resonance with the reality you want to jump timelines into. And it's weird because sometimes you're in one mode and then you want to like share it with other people and they're in the opposite mode. They're in suffer mode. They don't want to hear about manifestation and vice versa. So that's where it gets kind of tricky if you're trying to, resonate with everyone, because you're only going to hit certain people with that thought.
And then I feel that I become different people the more that I'm exposed to. We talked about this a little bit on the last time that you were here.
Was that like 2018 or something?
I think that was like 1973. Yeah. We were wearing bell bottoms and Zappa played live.
Oh yeah, and Jocko wasn't even in Weather Report yet. It was still Alfonso Johnson.
Yeah.
Man, go ahead.
Yeah,
go ahead.
What do you love? I want to hear it.
Oh, I was just thinking about, I loved that in the 70s, jazz fusion would fill arenas. And now that would just be unheard of, to even fill like a small venue. But you go back and look at videos from the 70s, like, oh shit, everyone was on board with jazz fusion.
Yeah.
It was just where it was at. Not everyone,
a lot of cocaine. A lot of cocaine rolling around, a lot of heroin. Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't all jazz fusion. I mean, you've got Zeppelin and Funkadelic and Sly and all that stuff. But
yeah. 70s were weird.
Music. And the main colors were red, orange, yellow, and a little green. And brown.
that weird like moss green or something, right?
Yeah. Everything was that
mustard
color.
Yellow, burnt orange, like burgundy.
Yeah.
And
then we went kind of neon in the 80s, and then we went a little different neon, not quite neon, more like pastel, but Technicolor looking. And then who knows after that? After that, we're just stuck in our phones.
Like around like 2000, everything was like the Matrix and black and like hardcore, man. WWE Raw, like
yeah. Post Frosted Tips, post 9/11 sort of aesthetic.
Yeah.
Who knows which one we're in now? Because we're in an era right now, and we're not even aware of it. Like, these shirts could be so ridiculous in 50 years. Our hairstyles could be so. Like, look at their beards and their hair. Like, look what they were doing back then. We're like, hey, we were normal.
Well, they're going to be like, look, they had skin.
Yeah, we had skin.
Not a metallic alloy that covered all pores allow for maximum breathability. What if it was an all Terrence episode, an all Terrence, all Jordan episode?
I would love to hear them like have sponsors, you know, like it'd just be like,
And this talk is sponsored by SHEATH underwear. Make sure that you put your man parts in there. I'm like,
They would. I mean, who does not have a podcast with ads? I mean, even Obama, Hillary Clinton, everybody's got a podcast now. And
Yep.
I don't say that in the same tone that everyone says, everyone has a podcast. Not that way. I mean, like this is where it's like everyone has a photograph of themselves. And 100 years ago, only the top, hierarchy of people had photographs of themselves because it was harder to get, but now it's easier to get. So everyone has a photo of themselves. Everyone has a podcast of themselves. Everyone has a sex tape. Everyone has an incest series on Pornhub with.
yeah. Oh, you didn't know about my series? We're in season 5 now.
Yeah,
It's the
first 3
extended
seasons were
family.
great. Yeah, fourth
Yeah.
season was a bit slow, but I was told it gets better.
My cousins from the East Coast come and get involved. They're hiding out from a hitman who's yeah.
Oh, I want to ask you. You were asking me what are some like cancelable things I like. What are some cancelable things you like? You said Legion of
Oh,
Skanks,
man.
so that's a big one.
Yeah, I haven't
They
tuned
get a
in
lot
in
of heat.
while. Yeah, I haven't tuned into them in a while, but every now and then I'll pop in just to see what's going on. And
Oh,
Come Town is a great podcast.
Timmy Dillon, another good
Timmy
example.
D.
Timmy
I just
D.
saw him about a month ago when he came to Denver. Yeah.
Yeah, he could like on Twitter alone, like you could point out like a bunch of things, especially in the moments in which he says them. Like I could understand why so many people hate this guy, but I can't help but recognize what a great broadcaster he is and the bits and stuff. And it's not always for me. I take breaks from it. I'll like not listen for 6 months to a year, and then something will remind me, and I'll be like, oh yeah, I forgot how funny Tim is.
Yeah.
Not sure I'd want to even be a friend of his in real life because it sounds like it would just be a one directional sort of thing. But as a broadcaster, I mean, undeniably great.
Oh, he's the best.
Mm-hmm.
Like early on in the pandemic last year, I felt like he just really hit a groove where it was like week after week was just insane. And I love that. I love people losing their minds, like live on air for all of us to enjoy, and then doing it in a way that is really funny and absurd. And then going to like, he did this thing about like how they announced that we're going to be pulling out of Afghanistan. And he did this video like tribute to like all the heroes and the warlords and the pedophiles and the opium smugglers. And it was just like so wrong on so many levels, but fucking genius.
Yeah, he dresses
Like,
up as Epstein's, sacrifice temple for Halloween.
Yeah.
He's in that world.
Yeah, I don't really buy, like, I don't buy into this whole thing. I mean, like, it's just, I
Don't
like
buy into
people,
what thing?
like canceling and stuff, I think that like, yeah, really, I think we need it, man. Like we need to go in the opposite direction. We need more people just fucking saying the things that are on their minds. And
I think it's happening regardless because Andrew Schultz was kind of talking about it. And, he said like everyone's complaining about cancel culture and it's too sensitive. And he's like, you should be salivating right now. Like you're not actually going to get canceled. You can actually develop a big audience being authentic, and you might upset a lot of people, but you're going to have to accept that as part of the deal if you want to be the current version of what Lenny Bruce is, or what a George Carlin is, or what a Doug Stanhope is. We're in 2021 now, and so it's not like you can just keep the bar at what that was. You have to challenge it in new ways, and I choose to not go all the way in with that. Not saying that I could hold up to the same level of the people doing that. I mean, Anthony Jeselnik, let's take that for example. Not everyone can be an Anthony Jeselnik.
This is a perfect joke.
Yeah.
You're going to love this joke. It's perfect.
Like me.
Yeah.
Or Don Rickles or someone. Like you really have to develop that trust, I guess, that brand to be that. But Andrew was saying like, yeah, you should be salivating because this is the time when it's sensitive. This is the time to be doing that. At times when no one cares, then our show wouldn't do well because everyone is acting like that. So it kind of comes in waves, I think. There's probably going to be a pushback wave, and then things get really absurdist again, and then it goes the other way, and on and on and on.
I mean, I just think it's like we love drama, you know,
we
like
need
people,
it.
but like that's biologically. I mean, we understand things through stories and through memes
Mm-hmm.
and ideas, and like people love tuning into like, oh, what's the latest show that you're watching? Like, what are you getting into? What's like your current, you know, entertainment, like consuming entertainment look like? And it's all stories. And one of the like IRL story is the people that want to cancel and the people that want to like defy the cancelers and say what they want. It's like, it's cool. It's like, that's the thing that we do, I think, as human beings, is
We
get into
do.
those dramas.
And
It's interesting. Like, I wish people that were so hardcore extremists on one side or the other could just enjoy it a little bit more as a game.
Yeah, but the thing is, we don't even know how hardcore they are because we're just seeing a little sliver of their identity on Twitter or whatever social platform we've seen them, express disdain for things that you and I might not find as disdainful because the comedy aspect of it. Joan Rivers, another one. I saw Joan Rivers like a few months before she died, and
oh wow,
and she ripped on everyone, like gays, Jews, Japanese, everyone, blacks, just left and right, and she wouldn't even give a moment to let people groan. She'd just be like, oh, let me finish. No, I'm not done with I'm not even done talking about it yet. And she was doing that shit in what, the 60s or something? Like the only female comedian in existence.
Yeah,
that's probably not true, but there was definitely way less.
She was like the number one though, right?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
no,
yeah. I remember Chappelle was on Rogan not too long ago.
Was that any good? One? No, I didn't.
I liked it. There was, I mean, it's like kind of all of his. There's moments, and but there was one moment where Dave Chappelle was explaining how he really enjoyed going into the alt comedy scene in the 90s with like Patton Oswalt and Janine Garofalo and Bob Odenkirk.
Janine's really
Cross.
Good live too, and probably on tape too. But
she used to be at this comedy club I was at all the time in New York, just like doing sets all
Tiger
the time.
Lily,
Eastville Comedy Club.
Eastville, okay. What's Tiger Lily? It doesn't matter.
Brian Posehn. So yeah, Chappelle was saying how the cool thing about the alt rooms and those comedians was that it wasn't so much about what they were doing, but it was about what the audience was allowing them to do. And like, it's like, take the risks, like say the things that are weird and crazy and go there. We want you to go there. Even if it's not perfect, we want to see you try.
Yeah. And I guess it was it's always a different climate, right? But more of the chances they were taking, I imagine, were like with doing nerdy stuff and taking space, like Patton Oswalt being able to do a 15-minute bit about the Star Wars prequels with long pauses and stuff. You couldn't do that at the Cellar with a group of people that have never heard of you before. So there is something to be said about that, like the space to hyper explore this nuance, which imagine having a show of people. I mean, Fred Armisen already did it. We were just talking about this the other day, the stand up for drummers show where he only let people in that could play a little paradiddle or something on a practice pad. So they had a bouncer at the front door, like, okay, here's the sticks, okay, all right, you're allowed in. And then he could just do an hour of jokes just for drummers.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
I love that. Well, yeah, I mean, we could do that now. I mean, that's kind of what having like an online audience is like, right? Like, it's just you've tapped into a niche, and like we're all trying to tap into the niche that best is like our tribe. The people that vibe with what we're doing. So it doesn't really have to be for mass consumption anymore. But I think more people.
That actually is bad, unless you really want to be one of those big people. But I don't think I have it in me to be. Like, not that I could, but, being a Kevin Hart rock level person that's just everywhere. Like, do you think you'd want that?
No,
like not that even either of us. I know very clearly. I know we're not invited, and I know that they work very hard and stuff. It's not like, oh, tomorrow I could go be The Rock or something. But
you didn't get the invitation to be The Rock.
No, I couldn't even be his assistant.
Like a formal wedding invitation. It's like all fancy. It's like, you are cordially invited to become Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
Yes.
Oh, nice. Please wear your tightest muscle outfit.
And then eat delicious cheat days in front of the smallest laptop you can buy. Why is his
that what
laptop
he
so
does?
small? Just on his Instagram.
I think he's so huge, right?
Oh, that's true. But no, it's compared to the food. Oh, but maybe the food is big. But, every week he has a cheat day because, he has a specific diet to maintain that physical form he has. And then he'll eat like 12 chocolate peanut butter cookies and like 2 large pizzas and a stack of pancakes. And just one day a week he does that.
And he posts it?
Yeah.
Or
And
he
it's
does it
always
live?
No, he posts a picture of it and it's always different. And then he also posts a picture of the laptop that shows a movie he's watching or something. He's like, I love Queen's Gambit. Best show ever. Ha ha ha. And then
27 cookies and Queen's Gambit. Yeah.
But the laptop's so small.
That would be cool to be The Rock. That sounds fun.
And then Tom Cruise on the other end of the spectrum. I remember in an interview he was talking about how he has a movie theater in his house. And the interviewer said, like, how big we talking here? And he just goes, it's big. Like so big that he didn't even want to say the size of it because it would make people hate him or something. It's like, you think IMAX is big? IMAX is shit.
I haven't been to a movie theater in a long time.
Me neither. At least 2 years now.
Yeah, wow. That's crazy. I used to love going to movie theaters too. Did you like movie theaters?
Oh, yeah. I loved everything pre-pandemic more, except for the...
I used to love everything.
Yeah, everything pre-pandemic I loved more, except for that there wasn't curbside delivery. I like that curbside delivery is now a normal thing. And I like the no fear of missing out that we experienced early on in the pandemic, where everything was shut down and the Italians were making sourdough and singing opera at each other from the balcony. But pretty much everything after that, I think it's kind of not... I'm not enjoying the franchise as much. I'm interested in what the directors are going to come up with for their next film series after the COVID arc. Perhaps we get nothing but more pandemics, though. Like maybe there's 3 more pandemics and we go from summers and there's always like
just when you thought the pandemic was over, things are heating up as the weather gets colder. Pandemic 2022. Yeah.
Doesn't this year feel kind of bland? It's kind of bland year. Like bread that you bought like a week ago that doesn't have mold on it, but it's stale and you're eating it. That's what this year
I've noticed that. Last summer, I felt like I had so much more energy for fun and out. Like I was riding my bike a lot and
avoiding Molotov cocktails.
Yeah.
Or throwing them, maybe. I don't know. Maybe you were throwing Molotov cocktails.
Well, I guess any chance
I don't judge.
To heave a Molotov cocktail, I'm going to take it. But it seems like a lot of effort, to do that. So.
Yeah. No, that was definitely... I mean, you're not going to get a more eventful and non-eventful year as last year. I mean, historically, that was such a wild turn we took. I remember when South by Southwest shut down, that was when I realized, oh, this is different. This is not SARS. This is not bird flu or whatever the close call ones that was just in the news, but it never ever, nothing was shut down in the past coronavirus adjacent things. But I guess,
this is Avengers Endgame.
This
is the one. This is the big one.
Yeah, man, that's kind of cool. The Marvel universe, how we're past Endgame, and now there's like a show called What If. Like, what if Captain America was 8 feet tall and hated his dad and gay? And then I'm like, oh, I'll see that. That's great.
What if Tony Stark was a Nazi?
Yeah. Oh, I was just with that. Or then, so you've got WandaVision, you've got Doctor Strange multiverse, you've got Loki multiverse. It's all about multiverse and how everything is and is not. And there's like multiple versions. You imagine making that in the 50s. Like, no one would know what you're talking about.
People would just turn the TV on, their head would explode.
Yeah, it's gobbledygook, as Norm Macdonald would say.
Yeah.
Sounds
like
a
bunch of gobbledygook.
Hulu, it sounds like a bunch of gobbledygook.
Sounds like he's got a bunch of whores in his trunk. In other news,
I was going down a Norm rabbit hole the other day.
He's the best.
And he had like Jon Stewart was trying really hard not to laugh. And then it was just when Steve Irwin died. And he's like, I got a call the other day from someone that said, you'll never guess who died. the crocodile hunter.
Yeah.
But with his actual delivery.
Yeah. Yeah. I was like, maybe it stinks. What he had a great joke. I got into a lot of his old like Weekend Update stuff last year. I was like rewatching things. He had some great ones, but
no, he's special. Yeah. I remember seeing Weekend Update with him for the first time and loving that it wasn't getting a big response, and he was just his voice was so unique. I think that's what I like about comedians and anyone, and what anyone likes about anyone for the most part. But like with Norm or with Tim in 2018 or something, the first time you hear people, like, or Brent Weinbach, and his is even more.
Who's Brent Weinbach?
Oh, you don't know Brent? He's my favorite comedian in the whole world. But his is characters. His has nothing to do with social, political commentary. Although he'll have it sometimes. I know who you're talking.
Yeah,
but
I know his stuff.
The type of voice when you hear someone, you're like, this is different. This hits me instantly. I'm not trying to find a way to like it or dislike it. It's like a new color where you're like, shit, there's another color. Holy crap, that's so cool. I'm in.
Yeah.
And I find myself being more forgiving of, if you've made me feel like that before, then I'm pretty forgiving of any missteps you might take in the future. Like with Keith Richards was talking about Muddy Waters, like any man that can make a sound like that is good by me for life.
Yeah, that's interesting. I wonder if it's because like we enjoy people achieving their gifts and like mastering something and doing something really excellent. It's like, well, fuck yeah, good for you, because I wish I could do that, but I can't, and you can do it. So I'm really happy that you can provide me with that feeling. And yeah, life's hard, so you might make some missteps, and that's fine. You're good.
And it's not even about not being able to do it, maybe in an Olympic athlete setting, but in terms of expressing yourself as a human, it should inspire you that, oh, I don't need to try to be like this person. There's something within me that is also special and that might help people and it might turn some other people off. Maybe it'll turn them off for this year, and then in 2 years they like me because whatever they were going through. I remember not even getting Ram Dass the first time I heard him. And then a decade later, I was exposed to Ram Dass again. And then I was like, that's Ram Dass? That's the same guy I thought that I didn't care about 10 years ago. And now it's all I care about. So
you weren't ready at that time.
I wasn't ready to
receive it.
Not even close. I was not only have I not taken any psychedelics, I didn't even want to. I thought that I would become, a tie-dye wearing shirt stoner, and like my brain wouldn't work. And not that I was a Reagan Republican or anything like that. It was just a personal, like, no, I specifically don't want to alter the brain state. And then that changed because it gets boring on the other side.
Yeah, you got to change it up. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Ram Dass, I like his early days where he still has that like Boston accent, and he's giving spiritual talks.
There are no eras in the game. There are no eras in the game. You want chocolate?
There are no eras. Yeah.
Oh, that's a good one. Eras in the game.
I tried to get over my neuroses. And I'm thinking I'm Richard Alpert, but I'm Ram Dass now.
I had a Mercedes-Benz, Cessna airplane, and
and he's like, you go up and then you come down. So he got off the psychedelics, was his thing. It was really interesting, actually. I think there is a chat between him and Terrence. Have you seen that one?
Yeah, in Prague with the waiter.
There's like a waiter.
The waiter is the fucking star of the whole video. And I don't know if they hired him or if he's just like a hidden talent or if all the waiters there are good, but he added so much to that video.
Yeah.
Mr. Ram Dass, like the computer Ram Dass?
I was listening to a Terrence talk recently, and he was talking about how the spiritual dimension is a completely different dimension than the psychedelic dimension. I wonder if they covered that in that talk. I kind of want to go back to that, because I think that was Ram Dass's whole thing, was like, you go up and you come down, you go up and you come down. You always want the thing and getting the high off the spiritual experience. We locked ourselves in a cabin for 7 days and took LSD every day. And
by the end, we hated each other.
Oh, really? Is that what happened? They hated each other?
On one of the things, maybe not in that specific cabin story, but they had, artists, musicians, resources, psychedelic space, understanding, and they set up that little community. And then at the end of 2 weeks, they hated each other. That's just kind of it.
I could see how that can happen. Yeah.
What if they did Burning Man with no end date just to see when it collapses naturally? Like, okay, no one ever has to leave. You can leave when you want, but we just want to see how this will naturally decompose if we don't put an end date on it.
I would love to see that.
I'm willing to bet it's quicker than most people would assume.
Yeah. I had sometimes I'm very, very much into the work of Charles Eisenstein and Chris Ryan and a lot of these thinkers that are talking about, and I mean, McKenna talked about it, the archaic revival, like sort of
Chris
like
Ryan
the
loves that archaic revival. He's all about the hunter-gatherer society is where we had it best.
That's his thing. Yeah. He wrote a great book about it. And,
Civilized to Death. I like
that's right.
I like that book.
Yeah, and I recently read another one called Sand Talk by Tyson Young Kapora. It was really good.
Sand Talk. What's that about?
Yeah, it's great. It's similar. He's a indigenous Aboriginal Australian writing about integrating into like westernized culture and the differences between his way of growing up versus our way.
Oh, cool. I'll check that out.
Yeah, it's really good. So I love that stuff, and I'm a big believer in it. And then recently I was on a 4-day backpacking trip in the Colorado mountains, did 38 miles over 4 days with like 7,000 feet of elevation gain. It was intense. It was hardcore. And you're just out there. There's nobody else out there. There's no civilization. You're just out there. You don't even see other people out there. And by the end of it, I was so happy to get back to civilization. I was so happy to like get back. Like, I was singing Jimmy Buffett's Cheeseburger in Paradise as I was exiting the hike. Me and my buddy were like, we can't wait to get like the biggest burger and fries. And I can't wait to watch the finale of Loki. And I was just like so excited. And so it's interesting, this like push and pull, or, like wanting to get back to nature and get back to the roots, but wait, there's all this.
I get it.
Fun.
I love both of them. I love sitting under a tree with nothing going on, no phone, and I love shopping malls. Not that I go to the shopping mall often, or that I did, but you go once every year or something. You're like, oh, cool. There's these stores, and they're heavily marketing to you, and they've got different Katy Perry songs playing in each one. And that one only sells candy, and that one only sells shoes. And how far we have come as a whatever thing we are. Even though it's so easy to target everything as evil, and it is evil, relatively evil, like dumping all the stuff in the ocean and stuff. Yeah, of course it's evil, but also
we're a little evil.
Yeah, we're made
we're a little evil as human beings. Like we're all a little bit, like we all have that thing inside of us. It's like, all right, who really gives a fuck?
Yeah, I'm surprised we're not all worse. I'm surprised cars are not crashing into each other more. I'm surprised we're not dueling with pistols outside more. I guess we've channeled it all into the devices, which is maybe healthier than beating each other on the streets, but they're still beating on the streets as well. But we're not.
Let's go back to the time when things were simpler, when people were beating each other in the streets in real life, not on the screen.
Yeah.
We're so attached to our phones and our games and our technology, man.
They're so good. I love different games and different shows, and I also have good friends that don't watch any TV, and they're not even judgmental about it. But sometimes I'm like, did you see season 2 of Mandalorian? Did you see?
I don't watch.
Did you
TV.
See Big Little Lies? Did you see Little Fires Everywhere? Did you see Mayor of Easttown? And they're like, we don't watch TV. I'm like, but the message, the acting, the
Yeah, totally. Yeah. I mean, I think that is, so I'm wondering maybe the spiritual, maybe Terrence has something to this dichotomy between, or separation between, the spiritual dimension and the psychedelic dimension. That the spiritual dimension is this sort of like ethereal, astral connection with nature, and it's quiet, silent, a different kind of tonality. And then the psychedelic dimension is like what we've created to a certain extent, or what we choose to engage in and plug into, movies and drama and acting and novelty and diversity and different colors and lights and things.
Yeah. And don't be afraid to like stuff that is, whatever, cringe. I was thinking about, Jamie Loftus, the comedian.
Mm-mm.
So she's got a great, how many podcasts has she done? But she gets hyper fixated on a
write
thing.
her down. Yeah.
And so she has the Lolita podcast. She has the Kathy podcast called ACCast. She's doing Hot Dog Summer right now. All these little things, like hot dogs, you could say hot dogs are bad, not good. Kathy sucks. All this kinds of things, but she gets hyper fixated on a topic and owns it and researches it. And then you start to like maybe not the topic itself, but you love that she's doing that. Like, I love that she has a Kathy podcast and is just owning that and has the author on and everything. And is kind of on a mini mission to like, hey, Kathy isn't as bad as most of us remember. Kathy is a punchline to most people, but I'm here to convince you why in its current setting, it was actually a very strong boomer feminist piece, sort of thing. And
amazing,
with, I don't know if you like 311 or something, like 311, if you like the X-Men cartoon or something, and you're
that's cringe.
Maybe, I don't know. What is cringe? Let's see.
Yeah, what is something? I'm trying to think about some things that I like.
Cringe
maybe would be
cringe is just what a 13-year-old doesn't like, right? Isn't that what cringe is, really?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. Anything that's not like exactly what a 13-year-old is into right now. Ugh, cringe. How could you say that? Like, I'm not trying to be friends with 13-year-olds right now. I don't care. You can't even drive. You have a billion TikTokers, and yes, you can afford more than I can because you have billions of dollars, but you can't drive yet, can you?
Yeah. Just drive up to a bunch of 13-year-olds and be like, hey, you guys can't drive yet. Just think about that.
Yeah.
Just drive away.
But I would never say cringe to someone. I just couldn't imagine being like, oh, that's kind of cringe. How do we feel about this person that said that? Are they on notice now? We're putting them on notice. They're cringe.
So it sounds like you and I probably share the same feeling where we want blood.
No, I said share the same blood. No, we don't.
We share the same blood. We share the same feeling in the sense that when I see people doing things that are unique and weird and like you just expressed, it's like, cool. Like, keep doing that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm supportive of that for sure. Yeah, there's nothing really that I feel like I'm like embarrassed to admit that I like or wouldn't share because I think it's funny. Like, all right, for example, yesterday I was pretty high last night and I sent a video to my friend of like what I was doing online at the time. And what I was doing was researching my sleep chronotype to see how I could get
what's a chronotype?
Exactly, yeah. I don't know, like I always need to like find out what, like I haven't been sleeping well. So I'm like, why haven't I been sleeping well? And I need to like think about it in my personal life, but then I need to understand like scientifically, well, what's the best time how do I have the right supplements and the right sleep and what this and that, what's my brain doing? So I was like watching, like, why do I need to label the thing to understand and like, why can't I just deal with it? So I was like, I did this, the chronotype is like, what kind of a sleeper are you? Are you somebody that naturally wakes up early in the morning? Are you somebody that's a night owl? Like, yeah, I'm more the night owl, as well. And so I was researching all this stuff, listening to Andrew Huberman and Matthew Walker, who wrote a book, Why We Sleep. And I just get into shit like that, like, it's like, ooh, I'm like, now I'm going to like research all this stuff about sleep. And
it's fun. It's fun to like stuff. Like whatever it is, human design charts, astrology, I'm a
manifesting generator. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm MG too. Maybe that's why we get along. That's
there we go.
A thing. Perhaps if I was a projector, we wouldn't get along, or maybe we'd get along even better. I truly do not.
Know? Oh no, really?
No, I don't know. I'm not good at remembering human design stuff or.
But like,
astrology.
as soon as you label it, like if you were like, I'm a projector, and I'm like, oh, I'm a manifesting generator. So now we've like set some kind of thing where we're
Yeah.
different, or or like, where's the bias and how does it influence? Does it, like, sometimes I try and stay away from all things and just go with like what I think, and I'm just going to make up some woo story, but it works.
Yeah. I mean, why is that any less legitimate? Just because there's less people that don't know about your specific model that you've constructed.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's more fun that way.
Yeah.
Do you know much about astrology and those kind of things?
So yeah, my girlfriend is very big into astrology and has told me multiple times what I am and all these things, and I can hang on to a little bit of it.
Are you? What the hell are you? Yeah.
Tell me what I am, please. Just screaming into the void of life. Please tell us what we are.
I think
In a cool, trendy, and aesthetically pleasing way.
I think you're fire. Are you a fire sign?
Earth.
Earth? Okay. I see Earth.
Yeah, I'm
Taurus?
a Virgo.
Virgo, interesting. My girlfriend's Virgo as well. Virgos strive for perfection.
What are you?
I'm Leo.
Okay.
Yeah, it's Leo
So
season.
you had a birthday recently.
Yeah, I did. Leo month. Leo birthday.
Happy birthday.
Thank
you.
you.
I'm on the cusp. I'm Leo moon, I think.
See, that's where I was
rising?
sensing it. See, then anything I can put into the model of, see, that's why I sense you were a fire sign, because you had it one place on your... But Noah Lampert learned it in like a month. He learned all of it in a month, and he can give readings, and he's done my readings a couple of times, and it was real. Everything he was pointing out it resonated strong, and I was not under the influence of any substance or anything. And
you were under the influence of Noah.
Yeah.
He's a substance.
He is a substance, and he's one of my favorite substances, and I wouldn't change a thing about him, because he's going to change a thing about him all the time. He's going to have summer of Tucker Carlson, summer of hating Jordan Peterson, summer of Imaginell technique, summer of crypto, summer of Ask Coin, winter of drugs coin. He's making it happen, and he's just such a unique guy. I love Noah.
Self-transforming Noahs.
Yeah. But
I love him too.
I could just imagine
get a reading from him.
I could just imagine someone picking a synchronicity podcast at random, like from 2017, and just being like, I don't resonate with this guy at all. And then maybe you will in 2020, because he changes it up. Just recently, he was talking about how he's tired of hearing himself say the same thing. So he's not going to keep talking about Imaginell techniques or whatever it is.
Yeah, I mean, I resonate with that, and you do too, right? So it's like we get into something, and then it's just kind of like, all right, enough of that. Like, what is that? What's that like for you? Like, have you been getting into things recently?
All the time.
Yeah,
I got back into Star Wars heavily, and now I'm like then I exited it because I didn't care about Star Wars forever, because you like it as a kid, you have the toys and stuff, and then your prequels, you're like, whatever, and then you kind of fade away. And then Mandalorian comes on. I don't know what made me want to watch it, because I waited a couple years before I even tried it. But I tried it, and I got sucked all the way into that Mandalorian push. and then I then started watching the prequels again, because I wanted to get my fix, and then the prequels led me into the prequel meme world, because the memes about the prequels are so funny, because it's such a goofy series of movies. And then you watch Star Wars Theory on YouTube, which is this Canadian guy that's like,
love that guy,
really buff, and like is a weightlifter, and he's like, what if Obi-Wan had killed Anakin on Mustafar? And then he just extrapolates like a whole universe of what would happen. And he also and it's not like that's his whole life. He probably does 100 million other things, but he just puts those together so well. And people try to write things in the comments sometimes, or like from one angle or another, and he's like, well, don't we just want to talk about Star Wars, guys? It just talks about Star Wars nonstop. But then, after that gets tiresome. So then, you get back into Abraham Hicks. You get back into maybe just watching animal documentaries with David Attenborough, and on and on.
Yes, here I am on the Canadian wilderness.
The most Canadian of all time. I can't do it right now.
That's the most
Canadian moose of all time. I like when he does like it's like the lower voice where he's whispering. He's like, "This curious fellow is gathering wood. What's he going to do with it? I'm here to report."
Do you know Jeff Richards?
Mm-mm.
He's a comedian, very underrated. He does spot on impressions. He's got a great Attenborough, but the best thing he does right now is he does interviews on YouTube an hour long with like a deep fake mask on as the impression he's doing. But he's getting like giant names. Like he does a whole episode with Bill Burr, with Alec Baldwin, with Jon Stewart, I think, like just all these big names. And then he's pretending to be Robert Downey Jr. the whole time in a very subtle way. And then you kind of forget that, oh, right, that's not even Robert Downey Jr. That's Jeff Richards pretending to be him for a while.
That sounds amazing. I'm going to check that out.
Yeah, I'm going to have him on my podcast soon and force him to do those impressions too.
Yeah.
I love
forced impressions.
Like people that are do good impressions or people that are channelers, like, you know, you can't help but be like, hey, can you tap into what's his face right now? I'd like to hear what they say from the beyond.
Well, you can always tap in or you can tap out. Where are we ever going if we're tapping out?
The Alan Watts?
Yeah, he's like, it'll be like, so then, you see, how are those wiggly prickles and prickly wiggles?
He was always a little tipsy, like he doesn't even remember a single thing. JC Wiggles.
Yeah, that's my dream. That's why I love your Terrence observation of over the weekend so much, because, well, I just get to experience a little bit with Michael Phillip and Jen. We went down to Austin and we had like a party and
they said it was great. I wish I could have been there.
It was so great, man. It was just great, like being in a room with people and having that feedback, and yeah, I was like throwing a couple of impressions out, and then we took questions at the end, and this Indian guy raised his hand. He was like, yes, can you? And I'm going to do an Indian accent.
And I think I'm going to give you approval to do it, not because I'm Indian, but because I was confused for being Indian growing up. Therefore, it's okay for me to do the voice, maybe? No?
Okay. Yeah. Right. I think it's a fun representation because it's an interesting voice. It has so much flavor and richness to it.
It's a great accent. I think it's Indian accent's gotten a bad rap. Yeah.
Yeah, I just love the sound. I feel it as more of an honoring of it.
Yeah.
Like I love it.
It ain't all Apu. It ain't all that.
Right,
There's so much more to it. Oh, so much more. But what did the guy say?
So he raised his hand and he was like quiet for a second. We were taking questions after the panel, and there were some cool questions. And then this one guy raised his hand. He's like, can you do the Alex Gray again? And I was like, yeah.
Well, without my wife Allison here to approve
it wouldn't be as authentic if I'm speaking of our creation at Entheon. My wife Allison and I have chosen to erect a statue of our genitalia,
representing the masculine and the feminine seeds of all creation, which is the purpose of being aware at all, which Allah says to be awareness is to look at our genitals in a larger size, only here at Entheon.
I love just these people, like you tune into them and you start to have a better day. Like, what if the next 15 minutes I just viewed everything as though I was Alex or Allison? Yeah. Allison, if you want the business side. Allison's a wonderful artist as well, but I feel like she's also the business mind too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's great. One of my favorite pieces ever is by her, Secret Language.
Yeah, the little white lines in between each symbol connecting all of them.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think this is like this speaks to something about like impressions, impersonating, kind of like trying on different costumes of human experience. Like why you when you got sucked into the Mandalorian, like that must have been such an awesome feeling to have this amazing show just take you into its world, and you get to live there for a little bit.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people that like it, it's resonating with childhood. Maybe some people are discovering that universe for the first time, but in the behind the scenes of it, which I also watched, they were describing how since they're using a lot of the characters that are lesser known in the show to give it its own style, they described it as it's as though your older sibling got all the good toys like Vader and Luke and everything, and you were just left with the second-rate toys, but you still had to create a universe with it, with the IG-11 or whatever robot, the one from Empire that doesn't say anything, it just stands there and turns its head once. Like, they build a whole universe around those guys, and I think that's cool to make stars out of the otherwise background characters. Is kind of fun.
Yeah.
Did you get into it at all? Do you watch any of Disney Plus? Yeah. Disney Plus World? I love Disney Plus.
Huge nerd in that respect. Yeah, I mean, Star Wars nerd, Simpsons nerd. Because Disney Plus has all the Simpsons episodes.
Is it evil? Yeah, probably. It's probably very evil. Do I still give it $11.95 a month? Definitely. That's how you balance the probably and the definitely. Are they evil? Probably. Are they get my money a month? Definitely.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's like, remember that of course, but maybe Louis C.K. bit that he did in like one of his specials, like, of course, slavery is the worst thing in the world, of course. And then but maybe.
Yeah, you don't get things like the pyramids or the iPhone unless you throw human suffering at it. Something like that.
It's like Disney, Amazon. Like, I still order things on Amazon. I mean, I have an iPhone. It's like we just live in this world. Yeah. I don't know.
I don't do NFTs yet because I'm still on the fence about, I don't understand the environmental impact of it, and also I don't like it. So I decided that since I don't enjoy it yet myself personally, I'm not judging other people that do it, but it doesn't sound like fun to me. I would only do it for money. So if I'm only going to do an NFT for money, then that doesn't sound fun. So I'll hold off for now. But perhaps it's even better for the environment than selling books. Maybe me selling physical books is worse than NFTs.
I mean, you could drive yourself mad trying to figure out what's the best thing to do.
Yeah.
And I saw Michael Garfield, right?
Of course. We were just talking about NFNTs. Is that what you're going to bring up?
I guess so. Yeah. He posted something where he's like, I'm not into all the NFT things. I'm just going to post this here and you can just have it.
Yeah. he said, I want to make an NFNT, a non-fungible, non-token. So it doesn't exist in the physical world, and you can't own it in the digital world either. It doesn't exist in either of them. And then I just reached out to him saying, like, we should collab on an NFNT. It could be non-fun.
Yeah. It's I don't really get it so much, I guess, the whole like, well, you could own the thing, and I don't know. I mean, maybe some people are in that.
It is the future. I don't doubt it's the future because Gary Vee says it's the future, and he tends to be right about those kind of things. Much like the internet was seen as a fad and so on. I think NFTs are here for good. And the only the environmental problem, I think, has to do with the Ethereum proof of work transaction uses up a lot of electricity. So something like that. So it's not even NFTs, it's Ethereum. And they're working on moving it to a new system and da-da-da-da-da-da. So it doesn't really matter. And NFTs are probably great. The truth is, I just haven't researched it. So in my head, it's not as fun because it's just images that someone owns and you have to auction. And can't I just suck my own dick and die? What if I just sucked my own dick and my own ass and died instead of having to make NFTs?
And make that into an NFT. Yeah. You can do that right now. We'll send the video out. We'll make millions.
Do you know, what's her name? Taylor Tomlinson was talking about her manager. She's a comedian. She's got a Netflix special and stuff. And she was telling her manager, the manager was saying her, you should do TikTok. And he's like, what's TikTok? And then describes TikTok, and then she just goes, oh, that just sounds like actual hell to me. And so eventually what if we clipped up your stand-up and then put it out on TikTok and you never have to look at it? And he's like, okay. And then now she's got over 1 million something TikTok followers, and I don't think has opened the app once.
Wow.
So you can have
a
presence.
Get someone to do that for me.
Yeah, you have so much video you could clip up into things, and you've got a lot of great voices. I don't know how much you use that, and in your regular thing, maybe depending on the guest, probably some guests you're not as comfortable busting it out, and then other guests you're too comfortable busting it out, like I am. Like me and something with me and people named Mike, you, Michelangelo, like we'll give each other the chance to be wrong at the impression, but oftentimes it's right too, and then you might find a thing in you. But do you use it a lot?
Just when it's like organic, I feel like. I mean, well, like I love discovering a new impression.
Yeah, it's all about the new one.
Yeah, so do you know Jason Silva?
Yeah, he's an early Rogan guy that never tried psychedelics but would talk about psychedelics all the time.
He's so fan. He's like, he just gets into these things. He does this video called Shots of Awe.
Yeah.
And I did this in Austin because we were talking about wonder, and so Michael Phillip is like he's the wonder dipper, and his crew is like the one they dip into wonder.
Yeah.
Jason Silva is a wonder junkie, he calls himself. So he's like, I'm just fascinated by these mind-blowing concepts and these ideas that are just reaching out into infinity, as Terence McKenna once said, the hyper object at the end of time, and how do we construct that into reality?
Well, another thing I said was don't give in to awe.
Yeah, right. And so that's his whole thing, is he just goes and gets into these flow states and just kind of raps about whatever and captures it and puts it on a video, and it's pretty cool. I feel like he just has kind of like one, like I saw him on Clubhouse one day. I was in a Clubhouse room.
Is that still happening?
Oh my God.
There's still Clubhouse?
Dude, I don't know. I got into it like maybe 6 months ago, and heavy. Like I was like, this is really cool. There's like a Terence McKenna room. There's psychedelic room, consciousness, this room, that room. Like there were all these rooms, and it was just really fun. And then I got bored of it like real fast. I haven't opened it up since.
I got bored of it instantly because I never got on board with it being called rooms even. I'm like, this is clearly not a room. This is clearly low quality audio coming out of this thing. I already know how to listen to, like, why not just listen to a Freddie Mercury interview from 1981 or something? Like that's going to be a better time than these assholes, whoever they are. Maybe these assholes would have been good, but just every room I went to, it just sounded like low-level marketing things, and
that's what happened. That's what happened to it, because I think maybe I was on right before that happened, and then everything became that kind of low-level marketing thing, and
so you caught
and then
it.
People developed that, like all these like procedures and protocols, and they'd be like, I'm Mike Brancatelli and I'm done speaking, and like all right, thank you. Anybody else have anything to say? And
point of personal privilege. Do you watch Your Mom's House at all?
No, I don't.
With Tom Segura and Christina Pajitsky. It's very funny.
Yeah.
They play clips, and any podcast is fun when it's, a lot of podcasts just kind of are this. It's like a cult/friendship simulator, and it's got its own language and rituals and nicknames for people, and you kind of grow in that universe, and you find yourself being like, oh, I wish I could use these terms with other people. And then people that do listen know they know the language.
I wish I could talk about how I'm a cum boy. Yeah. Just going to dinner with my girlfriend and another couple, and just be like, yeah, so what if all you guys were gay?
There was Stavros was saying his mother was on the phone, his Greek mother was on the phone, like, Stavros, his radio show is very popular. It's called Cumtown, and he's just hearing this over in the other room. Like, how do you explain what this is?
I love the absurdity of it.
Mm-hmm.
I love like there's like one joke, and it just goes the whole time.
Yep, forever.
And over and over. And it's like, sometimes I'm like, all right, enough of that. And then I get back into it. I'm like, good to be back to good and very good impressions and scenarios. And I started this other show, like, well, it's still part of this show, but it's more of a comedy element, and definitely inspired by those guys. And how,
what's the other show?
It's called Dosadelic.
Dosadelic, okay. Like
So it's
do-si-do.
me. Yeah, it's me and my friend Matt, and we just feel like I have more freedom to kind of just be crazy. But one of the things that I was inspired by with Cumtown was like, oh, these guys create bits and just run with and do characters and stuff. That's fun.
Yeah.
Like, that's really fucking fun.
And it's not even planned. It's just them hanging around being stupid. And a lot of the episodes are non-listenable. Like a lot of them I just turn off. Like nothing's going on in this one. But occasionally they get such a unique, funny angle. And to people on the outside, they might pigeonhole them as like, oh, this is a right wing thing, or these are like edgelords or something. But I find that they go after Joe Rogan as often as they would go after an ultra woke person. Like anyone is fair game, truly. Like there's no allegiance to any sort of club. Like if you're ridiculous in any way, you can be made fun of. Even if you're not ridiculous, you might just be like, maybe they want to incorporate the Michael Douglas character into something, and then it's nothing that Michael Douglas did
Michael
wrong.
Douglas. Yeah. I love that. Yeah. I love, that's my favorite part is these weird, like, I guess seemingly random characters that will get created in this environment, so I think it was like pandemic stuff was, going on, restrictions, this, that, nothing's open, closed. And I just felt this pressure to like, be like, I want to just be a little bit more loose and have fun. And that's one of my favorite things to do is create characters and just say, what if this guy was doing this?
How many
thing?
episodes in are you in with Dosadelic?
14.
14? Hell yeah. So it's like left orbit then. You're past the double digits. Me and Shane started Mind Under Matter as a similar thing, where he was doing, or he still is doing, his science show, Here We Are, and then I have Rainbow Brainskull, which I got to have you on Rainbow. Have I had you on Rainbow Brainskull yet? Do you want to do it again? Oh, you haven't done it yet? Okay, I need to have you on Rainbow Brainskull still. So let's plan that next one, and then we'll get even more Terrency if you're interested. And then perhaps
There's always,
So
perhaps.
So he talks.
Perhaps you have to have a perturbed sensibility in order to dive in for longer.
And longer and longer, and it just keeps going because it doesn't end.
So he did the science show. I talked to artists, and we found, since we already had like good chemistry and we're already friends talking on the phone for like over a decade, we like, why not just actually make a show of just the two of us, and then we can kind of market it as you talk to scientists, I talk to mystics, and then we discuss science concepts together and try to meet some middle ground or new insights or something. But mainly it's just a couple of bros hanging out. That's what the real thing is, but under the mask of we're selling a science show.
Well, I love it. It's great. I watched a little bit of Adulthood and Tripping.
Oh, cool.
I think those are two. Yeah. And really good production and graphics and everything and art. Our
editor is insane. We've got the best editor in the world, Matt McCool.
Cool.
Yeah, his last name is even McCool.
Yeah, which is even cooler because when you have something in front of it that accents it. Yeah.
Yeah, McLovin, McCool. He's heard all of it before. It's old. It's
Nice.
an old hat now. Trying to get some new hats going. But yeah, Two People Podcast are where it's at. I mean, Bill Burr does one with Paul Verzi.
Oh, he does?
Yeah, Bert Kreischer does one with Bill Burr. Tom Segura does one with Bert Kreischer. There's so many people who you might think are just stand-up, but then they also have a podcast. But then they also have a lesser-known podcast with their buddy. And then they also do one about fixing tiles on kitchens or something. Just no one...
I'm gonna fix this fucking tile, dude. I'm going crazy over here Monday.
Dude, you know what I like to do?
Sebastian.
Who does that? Sebastian.
Sebastian Maniscalco and Pete Corielli have a
They're
great one
funny.
too.
Yeah.
So I was washing my car in the driveway wearing a tank top. You know.
Oh yeah, you're already Italian. You've got it in you.
I already got my father dead. I want to find my.
I'm trying. What is he? He did.
I love that. That's a great Sebastian.
Oh, you like that?
Yeah, you gotta. I think if you slow it down a little, because he kind of takes pauses. Like I was telling Serafina the other day, Daddy
walked
loves
in.
you.
To the kitchen. I said, "What are you making in here that smells like that?"
Oh, bro, I'm telling you, nobody gets this on any other pod.
Yeah, that's Pete Corielli.
Yeah, they say that, like, they have observations, and then they always, like, cut in with, like, you don't get this anywhere else. And Sebastian's new tour is even called "Nobody Does This."
Oh, nice.
Nobody
I like
does
that.
this.
Yeah, I try to find the thing. Like, what's the thing that he does or says? I think it's the tonal thing for him. Like, I see the guy on the exercise bike. I'm like, what are you doing? He has that, like,
That's a big
just
one.
do what we're doing.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Just do what we're doing. And it's infectious to the point where I even heard Seinfeld says that if he follows Sebastian at the Comedy Store or something, he can't help but do Sebastian. It just ekes out.
No way.
And
it
then,
comes into his
watch
act,
watch some recent Seinfeld compared to old Seinfeld, and you'll see a very clear Sebastian influence.
Wow.
A lot of people, he's infectious.
Wow. Well, I saw Tim Dillon, so I went to Denver Comedy Works and saw him there. And his opener was this kid from Miami, like 22-year-old kid, and he had a Sebastian thing going on. He's like, I'm Cuban. It was like he had the rhythm, the cadence, it was like clearly influenced by Sebastian. And he really had
That's cool. Yeah, we all start ripping someone off. And then
who was it for you?
Who did I start ripping off? I think I was originally I was a bit of a Mitch Hedberg clone. Then a little bit of Weinbach seeped in as well. And I mean, who else? Probably just those two. I was mainly a short joke guy, but not as stonery as Hedberg or as funny. Just the shortness of it, maybe a little more squirrely. But after that, completely original, and then the most original voice in the whole country. Yeah, after that, I just found myself, and then everyone else followed me.
Yeah.
And then everyone else just acting like I did.
Yeah.
No, actually, I don't spend much time thinking about it. It's so weird. You think about what other people are aping, I guess. And like you hear in New York, there's a lot of Dave Attell clones still, especially before, but still just his cadence infects people. Mm-hmm. You can't help it.
Yeah, definitely.
If there's something you like about a way someone is, you can't help but be like them a little bit.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, and then just being around those people. I think it's just like a natural phenomena of like you're around that's the thing, that's the energy, and it's kind of hard. Like, why wasn't EDM music popular in like 1970? It was just like it wouldn't have fit. There's like grunge, for example. Like it was just like a tone of rock music at that time. It would have been hard for a band to break through that sounded completely different because it just wasn't what the energy was or whatever.
Yeah, we were still on hair metal and new wave and stuff. Yeah, because the technology existed to produce grunge songs. There was still like the 3-piece band, the guitar, bass, drums, and it's not like you needed special equalizers to get just that right Nirvana sound. It was culturally, it wasn't. They weren't ready yet. Ready
or
for
like
the grunge yet.
Recently, yeah. You're not ready for this, but your kids are gonna love it.
Exactly.
I got into Rush like really heavily recently because I watched a documentary on Netflix.
The 2012 one or the 2112 doc?
It was called Behind the Gilded Stage or something. Rush Behind the Gilded Stage or something.
I like Rush. But Getty, Canadians.
Yeah, they're just like they're just like good, like honest, kind of nerdy people. Like they weren't like doing a bunch of drugs and sleeping with a bunch of women. They were just kind of like, yeah, we're gonna go and like play video games.
And
after.
they toured with Kiss, and Kiss was like, what's wrong with these guys? I don't think they're gay, but why aren't they like taking advantage of these? We've got all these groupies around, all this blow, and they just go back to their room and watch TV and play Dungeons and Dragons or whatever.
Right. Yeah. And then their early songs before like the popular ones are like these epic kind of rock opera pieces of like like we are the children from the stars, like
Yeah.
things like that. And it's like, we cherish the temple of Osiris. And you're like, well, all right, cool. Like what? I like seeing the evolution. And then they get into, after they're kind of like heavy rock and drum period, they get into kind of more of the keyboard 80s thing. So like, it's just like, hey, this is what's around. This is like a sound. Let's experiment with it.
Yeah. Man, Rush is great. And
Yeah.
rest in peace, Neil Peart.
Yep.
And
Oh, you said his name right too.
yeah.
I've been saying it wrong for so long.
Because it looks
and
like
then-
Peart, man. Who says Peart? Peart is stupid. But now that he's dead, I say it right.
Yeah, respected dead.
Yeah. They have such a big sound for just three people. And this is
Yes.
fun. This is like such a dude episode. We're like talking about Rush and Come Town and
I know,
the
let's
Rogan
talk
episode
about-
with Dave Chappelle. And we should be talking about, setting up sustainable housing for less fortunate.
Right. Yeah. Or like periods or something.
Yeah. Well, we talked about
Let's
periods in music. There's different
We have,
musical
yeah.
periods. What's the difference
could-
between a period that is a blood related one and one that's about bloody music?
Have you ever seen Kyle Dunnigan and Kurt Metzger do their?
I love Kyle Dunnigan. Yeah.
They have a mini fake podcast called Pussies, I think it's called.
No, but see, there we go again. I just said I love Kyle Dunnigan, and I have no idea what project he's working on. And there's probably everybody has some project going on that I would not be into. But there's another project.
It's not a real podcast. It's a fake podcast called Pussies, where it's Michael and Michael. It's Kurt Metzger and Kyle Dunnigan. They both play Michaels, and they this theme from Dawson's Creek, I think, is like the intro theme, and it's really funny. I like it because it's going back to the more like dude-esque version of the podcast. They're just ripping on things, like talking about the end of Game of Thrones, and a lot of people are saying that it was Daenerys was on her period, and we should have compassion and think about it that way. And so they're like spinning these things into like these places where we shouldn't go, really. But it's fucking funny. It's hilarious.
I gotta check that out. What is it called again?
Yeah.
Just Pussies?
Yeah, I think it's on his YouTube or Instagram.
Yeah, that's funny. And
yeah, he's kind of the master of impressions right now, right?
One of them, yeah,
he's one of them.
He's got a lot of good ones. His McCartney, his Biden, his Bill Maher. I'm sure there's tons of other ones I'm forgetting, and he's been around for a while as a stand-up. I just don't think he was had taken off as much until social media stuff, which is fun seeing it flower out in so many different directions. So you've got like murder podcasts, you've got Guys We Fucked is like one of the number one podcasts of all time, and you would have thought like 10 years ago, like, no, that's not going to do well, but just little sections of audience that you just want to hang out with at that time. Maybe you feel like hanging out with your girlfriends, maybe you feel like hanging out with the dudes, maybe you don't want too much of either energy, you want a little bit of a mixed situation, maybe you want to remove it from gender entirely and not even have to think about that, and then you're out in space and so on and so on. And I like all of them for the most part.
Yeah, there's so much out there, and there's so many ways that you can like augment your own consciousness or augment your experience by plugging into those worlds.
Yeah.
So that is one of the coolest things for me. And then it, like going back to that, the spiritual dimension versus the psychedelic dimension, like we're both friends with Jessa Reed.
Of course. Love Jessa, one of my favorites.
She's great. And I love her perspective and her language and the way she talks about all these things. And I can understand it just through a different lens, or I talk about it in a different way. But it's like, it's great. Yeah. Like live in that world, live in that alien school, like Galactic Federation world. It's fucking amazing. And then I could unplug from that and go to something else that's completely contradictory of that. But I'm also like, but yeah, that too. Mm-hmm. Like that's also cool. Yeah.
And that too, and that too, and that too. And we haven't even gotten started yet, unless there's a solar flare and all the electricity goes down or something. But I feel like we're just even scratching the surface of content creation.
Yeah, so basically what we're saying is the meditative world is trash.
The meditative world. It's funny to think of a world of like, we've got the shirts, we've got the hats, we've got the apps, we've got the drink meditation soda. It's the only soda you should drink after meditation. It helps your which I play a part in that too. I'm not outside of the world of, maybe not heavily, but I say meditation is good, of course. I like meditation.
Do you meditate?
Of course. I also fall off the horse for months at a time as well, much like Duncan.
Same. Yeah.
I fall off everything for a while and then get back onto it. Maybe that's this episode's theme also. It's going back and forth between the extremes, falling off of one, getting onto the other, coming back to it, remembering why you liked it, why you had to leave it for a while, and so on.
Yeah. So there's this book I love called Finite and Infinite Games. And I always try and remember it in the context of what we're talking about, because it's like, and I hope that more people do. I hope more people embrace the gamified element of this, of life, really, of reality, because it's like you like to tap into things that have a definitive beginning and an end, but then there's also the infinite of just like, yeah, this just goes on forever. But while I'm here, let me get lost in a drama for a little bit. Like, let me tap into something.
I've wanted to read that. I forgot that book existed. I remember like Naval Ravikant or someone recommended it. But do you have any examples of what a finite game is? Probably easiest one, tic-tac-toe. There's a beginning, there's an end, there's a winner, there's a loser. Infinite game, I imagine, is internet, like playing Twitter or playing Instagram or TikTok. There's no end game. You just can make your surface area larger, or your surface area can stagnate or shrink, but it's a surface area game, right? Like how many people know about what you're doing and like what you're doing.
Yeah, so you get the finite game. So then the infinite game is, I always use the metaphor of at a concert when someone throws a beach ball in the air. Like the point of that isn't to like win the beach ball thing, like slam it down and be like, yeah, I did it the hardest. Like some douchebag maybe will do that. But the point of the beach ball game is just to keep it going.
Yeah.
Like how long can we keep it going for? So the infinite game is how long can we keep it going for? Like a finite game would be like you play an isolated game of football on a Sunday, the Browns versus the Jets. That's the finite game. But the infinite game is keep playing football, keep going and doing that thing.
Ooh, the pandemic is an infinite game in that let's use both angles of this. Like the powers that be want to keep it going forever. And then then the rest of humanity wants it to end. And then they see it as a finite game, but then perhaps there's some people that don't. And by powers that be, I mean, I have no idea, because I don't even look at conspiracies anymore. I feel like I stopped conspiracying in 2017 or something. Just got tired of it. But maybe I'll be back in 2022.
Well, yeah, I mean, like I think the biggest conspiracy is that we're the conspiracy. Like we're in on it.
Mm-hmm. We are.
We're a part of it all. Like we create the drama of like, what are the hidden things? And then it like takes on a life of its own. And the real thing gets distorted into this wild, fantastical thing because nobody likes The Sopranos just going to black. Like you want like, give me the fucking thing. Like what's the end of this whole game, and we need to know the big like sexy grand finale fireworks show thing. And I think that's just like in our innate desire for story and good, bad, heroes, villains. But like, yeah, you say powers that be, it's really just like the incentive structures that we live in. It's like what makes more sense, like for people that run that, for all of us, like what makes more sense for us to do that's going to leave us better off. And I think more of us that have like a moral compass are like, well, I don't want to do that. That'll be shitty. But like, I guess I'm okay with getting my products delivered on Amazon. I mean, I'm willing to admit that, but then there's just people that just don't give a fuck.
Exactly.
Just like,
but I don't even believe, I can
make money. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't even believe what I said about there's a powers that be trying to keep the pandemic going. But one could argue that maybe there is a powerful group of people that want to kill people. Maybe they want to reduce the population. Maybe they want to reduce a specific segment of the population, or it's the opposite. Maybe there's, I don't know. I was just trying to spin something there, but whatever. The lizard people control everything is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, like I think that's cool. Like I got into that early on, like the idea of like just, like the Bill Hicks joke where he's like, I think when you become president, like what they do is they sit you down in front of a screen that has a different angle from the JFK assassination. and then they just roll it up in like a cigar smoked room and they're like, any questions?
Yeah.
And that's funny and cool, but I don't really think that that's what's going on. I just think that it's like all of our desires manifest into a world of material abundance where we're like, we could do anything. So like why would I not do a thing? Oh, because it's going to fuck those people up. Like, yeah, but I don't even see them. I don't even know them. They're just like numbers. So,
yeah.
And there's like corporation, the board of directors. It's like these companies become these things that aren't run by human beings. It's like, it's whatever's good for Exxon to make more money,
What if they are the next life form and we are the little cells, the same way that our cells are like cycling in and out of our body? Like Exxon is an entity and it cycles human cells in and out of it, but it just wants to eat. It needs to eat.
Have you seen, do you watch Rick and Morty?
Of course, seen all of it.
The one with Wrangler jeans?
Regular jeans?
Wrangler jeans?
That's season 4, maybe? Season 3?
I think it's 4. It's like the aliens that are going to attack the Earth are sponsored by Wrangler jeans. And they're like, so it's like they just had to and Wrangler jeans has an agenda to get everybody wearing Wrangler jeans.
I remember. It reminds me of, there's this sci-fi book where they're reaching out for this complicated signal coming in the far reaches of space, and then in the end it ends up not being like the universal higher intelligence, but rather a very high marketing message. Like, so it's a very complex entity, but it was a marketing thing for them. So
I love that.
That's not a great way of describing it, but it's something there. Let's see here. Oh, we should start wrapping up if that's all right.
Of course, yeah.
It's not. How long do you normally go for? Hour, 2 hours?
About this time.
Okay, cool. So let's start tying the bow on the experience. Is there anything you say at the end?
Well, I was listening to a Terrence talk recently, and he's like,
well, we're getting towards the end, so it's time to start tying together all the loose threads and getting all of your curiosities to live further. Because we're not wrapping. We're going for another 6 hours, and I'm smashed.
Loaded, as one might say.
Yeah, I heard him say smashed recently. It was really funny. I was like, oh, he normally says loaded.
Yeah, you think smashed wasn't invented at the time. And you're like, oh, wait, they're using smashed then. Cool.
He's prophetic, man. He invented a lot. He's like,
in 40 years, there'll be a comedian named Ramin Nazer who will imitate me and use Instagram for art.
You're like, imagine you were listening. You're like, you just heard that. You're like, whoa, what the fuck?
Man, like, and he's brought so many of us together. Like, he's probably not specifically Terrence, but that whole crew, the Terrence, Alan Watts, Ram Dass, whoever. Like, I feel like probably you and I and Michelangelo and Jen and Colin, we probably wouldn't know each other. Maybe we would, but I feel like we connected based on shared interests of these characters, and then somehow found each other and have developed these online friendships, and offline too, the online that have become offline as well.
Yeah, and offline is great. We're gonna do something here in Denver, and we're gonna do something in LA, like a podcaster party thing. So hopefully we'll get to do that live.
Oh yeah,
or we'll get to hang out live. But yeah, as a wrap up, maybe that's a good place to, or a good point to kind of go into, is like that. Those were my influences. I'd say McKenna, Watts, Ram Dass, Robert Anton Wilson, Joseph Campbell.
Oh, Joey Campbell, so good. How did I leave his name out?
The JC. Yeah. So what should people what should we tell people to go? I watched a Russell Brand video the other day, so this is inspired by Russell Brand. He tells people to go and find certain clips of these he said go find certain clips of like Terrence talking about things and it'll blow your mind. What are some great clips that you could remember, or people that people should be searching or looking for?
So I always think it just totally matters at what you're resonating with at the time, because I might recommend like, oh, you got to see Jocko talking about getting up at 4 a.m. That's what you need to hear. And some people don't want to hear that. I don't even want to hear that right now. But I am on an Abraham Hicks kick this week. By the time this comes out, who knows? Maybe I won't be. But current me is aligned with that, and maybe the listener will be too. But search Abraham Hicks and whatever thing that is bringing you unease at the moment on YouTube. Like, let's say you're very anxious right now. Search Abraham Hicks anxiety. Maybe you're depressed. Maybe you've got financial woes, relationship woes, physical woes, something like that. I bet it's going to unlock something in you. It's got that magic tarot power of like, oh shit, that's exactly what I needed to hear from this lady from San Antonio that channels an entity named Abraham. Tells you to get into the vortex, and you're always near the vortex. So just get into the vortex. But what if I'm out of the vortex? Then get into the vortex. But what if I think about something outside of the vortex? Well, step back into the vortex and then enjoy being in the vortex. I like when I'm in the vortex. When I'm in the vortex, I feel comfortable. When I'm in the vortex, I feel like I can do anything. When I'm in the vortex, I like people more. When I'm in the vortex, people like me more. When I'm in, and so on.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you, Ramin. This has been great, dude.
Good talking to
Really
you.
appreciate
and then
you
we'll
being
see you
on.
on Rainbow Brainskull. Let's get that scheduled in and get an episode if you're interested.
Let's do it.
Cool.
Let's do it for sure. Go Rainbow Brainskull. Where else do people go?
Oh, that's it. I mean, I'm most active on Instagram currently, and it's just my name, Ramin Nazer. And yeah, thanks for listening, everyone. Stay mikeadelic-ing, everyone. Keep that.
You really want there to be like an end thing, right?
Yeah, keep on miking that delic until next time.
All right. Double down on your delic mics.
Yeah.
Peace. Bye-bye, everybody. Hey, hope you guys enjoyed that episode as much as I did. Remember to check out all the sponsors. The reason why I have sponsors is because they help support the show. So they're paying me so that I can keep doing what I love to do, which is providing this show for you guys. And if you see something that looks cool, looks interesting, check them out and give it a try. And you know me, I only take on things that I feel that are really good and that I use myself. And yeah, check them out. Being True to You, Sheath Underwear, Ohana Kava Bar, and Fungi Academy. All the links are in the show notes, show description area, and you get a good chunk percentage off for most of them. Just put in the promo code MikeAdelic and follow the instructions. Check out the links. And consider becoming a Patreon member. You know, I probably wouldn't have ads if I had a lot more patrons. So consider joining the Patreon community. I really want to build a community there with more interaction and engagement. So more people we have over there, the better. Right now we have a pretty good crew, and we talk to each other in the Inner Sanctum Discord chat. So you get access to that. When you become a patron, you get access to bonus episodes, Dose-a-Delic comedy episodes, and also early release episodes like this one. So check that out. And the least that you could do, I guess, to support the show is just tell people about it, share it, like, subscribe, and leave a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts. Of course, always get in touch with me if you want to chat about anything that you heard on the show or anything at all. You can email me, mikeadelicpod@gmail.com. You can message me on Instagram, mikeadelic_podcast, I think. And that's it. Until next time, much love. Peace.